Dear book lovers, welcome to another insight-packed book summary episode of Summerpedia. We are here to bring you more titles in less time.
That powerful moment, which author Annette Simmons shares, really gets to the very heart of her book, The Story Factor. In this episode, we are going to explore the important and highly practical lessons from the book, The Story Factor, by Annette Simmons. We're going to break down how you can harness that very same power in your own life.
All right, let's dive into the core idea of the book because this is so good. Simmons tells this amazing parable. There's Truth, walking around naked and cold, and he gets turned away from every single door. But then Parable finds Truth, shivering and alone, and clothes him in a beautiful story. And what happens? Dressed like that, Truth is welcomed into every home, invited to sit at every table. This just perfectly explains why raw facts, on their own, so often fail to persuade anyone.
And this comparison really hits the nail on the head. I mean, facts are logical, sure, but they're cold. They're one-dimensional. And they often make us put our guard up because, let's be honest, we aren't purely rational creatures. A story, though? A story is warm. It's emotional. It's like a full-on hologram of the truth that connects with the feelings that actually drive our decisions. And it makes us want to lean in and listen.
This quote from Pirandello just captures it perfectly, doesn't it? A fact is an empty sack. So the big question is, how do we fill that sack? How do we give our facts some weight and meaning so they can actually stand up on their own? Well, the answer is simple. You fill them with stories. So, how do we actually do it? Well, this is the best part. Simmons doesn't just say, hey, stories are important. No, she gives us a practical toolkit. She lays out 6 essential types of stories that absolutely anyone can master to build trust, to inspire action, and to make their message completely unforgettable. First up, we have the Who I Am story. You know, we live in a world where everyone's taught you can't be too careful, right? This story is your secret weapon for cutting through all that cynicism. It helps people feel like they know you personally. And study after study shows we are way more likely to trust people we feel we actually know. And this is just a brilliant example. A speaker named Robert Cooper was facing an auditorium of 900 total skeptics. Instead of burying them in data, he told this incredibly heartfelt story about his grandfather's wisdom, which he shared right after having a series of heart attacks. That single story, about who he was and what he truly believed, it transformed 900 cynics into an audience that was hanging on his every word.
Okay, next up is the Why I Am Here story. This one is all about getting out ahead of suspicion before it even has a chance to start. It clarifies your real intentions and shows a little humility, proving that you're not just there to push your own agenda.
Just listen to this one. There was a young CEO who made a massive mistake on a building plan, but instead of trying to hide it, he told the story of a screw-up and how his crew then gifted him a red shoe and a green shoe to help him remember port from starboard. By admitting his mistake with a story, he built instant credibility and trust. How great is that?
The third type of story is the vision story, and this is so important. A goal, like let's become a $2 billion company. I mean, that's just a number. It's cold, it's boring. A vision story, on the other hand, transforms that dry goal into a shared quest. It makes the future feel real, meaningful, and genuinely exciting.
This classic tale says it all, doesn't it? The first 2 guys, they have jobs, but the third guy, he has a purpose. A powerful vision story gives meaning to the daily grind. It connects all those small, boring tasks to this grand, inspiring cathedral that everyone, and I mean everyone, wants to be a part of building.
So, how do you teach someone a lesson without sounding like you're lecturing them? You tell a teaching story. These stories let people learn through a kind of simulated experience, which makes really complex ideas feel intuitive and super memorable. It's the difference between telling someone what to do and letting them discover that lesson for themselves.
I mean, just listen to that. This one-sentence story from a Haitian cab driver teaches a deep, profound lesson about respect and long-term consequences. And it's so much more effective than a direct order like, hey, treat your employees well. It's subtle, it's powerful, and man, it sticks with you.
Let's talk about corporate values. Words like integrity, teamwork, or fun, they're pretty much meaningless buzzwords you see on a poster in the break room, right? A values in action story is what makes them real. It shows a value in action instead of just talking about it.
Oh, you have got to hear this example. So Marty Smy's father wanted to teach the family value of having fun. So what did he do? He took the piano that his kids absolutely hated practicing, and he burned it in a giant bonfire in the backyard.
I guarantee you, you will never forget that story, and you will never, ever forget the value it represents.
And finally, we have the I know what you were thinking story. This is such a brilliant, almost ninja-level technique. It's for getting ahead of your audience's unspoken doubts and objections. By addressing their skepticism inside of a story, you show them that you get it. You understand their perspective. And that just neutralizes their resistance and builds an instant connection.
So we have these 6 amazing types of stories, but how do we actually use this stuff in the real world? Well, it's not about being pushy or aggressive. It's about creating an invitation.
The author tells this fantastic story about a Fuller Brush salesman's secret to success. See, most salesmen try to jam their foot in the door, but his dad did the exact opposite. He'd take one step back and just stay completely silent. This simple, respectful move totally disarmed people's suspicion, and it almost always got him an invitation to come inside. So the key takeaway here is huge. True influence isn't about forcing your way in, it's about behaving in a way that makes people want to invite you in.
So who is the brilliant mind behind all of these powerful insights? Let's take a quick look at the author herself, Annette Simmons. Annette Simmons isn't just some theorist writing in an ivory tower. She's a full-time corporate trainer who specializes in the absolute toughest situations. She literally helps executives switch from using brute force to using the elegant tactics of a martial arts master. Her deep, real-world experience in communication and influence is exactly what makes her framework so practical and so powerful.
Okay, we have covered a ton of ground here. So let's do a quick recap of the key lessons from the story factor that you can start using like today.
First, always remember that facts are just empty sacks. It's the stories that fill them with meaning. Second, people are driven by emotion, not pure logic, and stories are a direct pipeline to those emotions. Third, real influence isn't about forcing someone to do something. It's about building a genuine connection. And no matter what you need to do, build trust, share a vision, teach a value, there is a story for that. And with those 6 key types we talked about, you've got a whole new toolkit to get started.
And that brings us to one last thought. As Simmons herself writes, the single most important story you will ever tell is the story of your life. So, as you go out and use these tools to influence and connect with others, it's worth asking yourself, are you living a story that you're proud to tell? Thanks for watching. If you found this summary helpful, don't forget to like, comment, share, and of course, subscribe for more impactful book summaries from Summarypedia. We'll see you next time.